First time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davey, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady DVP, the BDElite.
Hello, Braden Herrington here. Well, with not Davey Portman. Sorry, I just said his shoot name. Well, I'm here with another friend. This is BDElite. Every Wednesday night, we're your Dynamates. After Dynamite, we go live on Twitch and we record this show and we talk about AEW. And no, Davey P is not here and he has landed safely. He's okay, but I thought I'd reach out for an unfamiliar voice on our kind of network because I like to mix and mingle. And it's someone that I ran into and met for the first time during Grand Slam weekend, I guess we could call it, or week, if you will. But his name is Mr. Cassidy, or should I call you the Spoiler?
You can call me whatever you want. I can go by Cassidy now. I mean, people know me as the Spoiler. I haven't spoiled a lot lately as much. I've been kind of taming it down. We had a hot run, though. We were getting kicked out of NXT for spoiling stuff. We were getting kicked out of everywhere. But right now, we've just been enjoying stuff. I spoiled some things a couple weeks ago, though. So I guess, yeah, never mind. I guess I'm still doing it. Yeah, whatever.
I don't read ahead. I don't want to be spoiled. Don't tell me anything. No. Yes. Welcome to the show, good sir. For those people who might not know you, you're from bodyslam.net.
That's right, man. An owner and founder, and it was pretty much me for the first 3 years, but we got a lot of new people that have come on board to help me out. So we got a lot of new faces. So I've kind of stepped back from the bulk of the work just to do a lot of the backstage stuff and, stick to just breaking my own stories more than just covering everybody else's stuff too. So got other people doing that. We got a lot of new faces, but yeah, man, bodyslam.net, that's been my baby and my project for the last few years. And it's finally getting some legs and getting some attention. So finally paying off a little bit.
Well, yeah, I knew of some of your stuff that I've seen all over like Twitter and stuff like that. And I didn't know you personally, but then we were going to Grand Slam in September for the Kenny Omega Danielson match. Had to be there. And you and your buddy, Brendan Sockler, who's been on our last game, which you guys showed up and he kind of introduced us and we were chilling. And I'm a Canadian who was traveling to the US. And well, I wasn't quite sure about those ice cream trucks that were selling that sweet devil's lettuce, but you were a kind enough gentleman to say, hey, it's Danielson and Omega. Let's smoke this blunt. And I have forever held that as a thank you. And that's why I had to ask you to come and do a show with me.
More than happy to partake and enjoy such things with you. And I just got back again from New York, and man, I definitely took liberties of the convenience of such things in New York. It was one outside of the same company, same truck, right outside the hotel. So that was awesome.
Yeah, now, and New York is AEW territory, obviously, but now it's also GCW. I can, for those watching on the Twitch, you're wearing a GCW hat. So yeah, you went to the show this past week.
Bro, it was something else. I mean, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews online, but dude, if you were there, I don't think anybody that was there has anything but flowers to give for that show and can like good things to say. It was fun, man. It was a great time. It reminded me a lot of an ECW show, which I went to in the 90s, so I went to an ECW pay-per-view in 1998. So it's
which one?
WrestlePalooza. It was in Marietta, Georgia, which is where I'm actually from. It's where I was born.
Okay. Damn.
So yeah, no, I went to that, and it brought back a lot of memories from that time period and just the funness of the show. And man, I mean, even ECW didn't put that many people in that building. WWE didn't put that many people in the building. Ring of Honor, New Japan. So it was fun, man. It was a great time, and I was really proud. There's a lot of my friends that work that show, so I was really proud to see my boys, do something special.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could imagine. I could only imagine. I'm not an avid GCW viewer. I have ordered some of their pay-per-views before, and I was looking forward to. I started getting that bug of like WrestleMania weekend and stuff, and
Hmm.
all the big shows they had planned. Like, definitely had my attention. So we did order this one last week, and yeah, it was so much fun. That lucha match. I know I talked about it with.
Oh my God, bro. Like,
That chicken fight destroyer spot is one of the craziest things
and
I've seen
I
in
watched it
wrestling.
back again today, and I only caught one real like botch, and that was the finish, really, where like I don't know what
Yeah.
ASF was trying to do
Who
and
knows? We'll
what was
never
supposed
know.
to happen,
We'll never
but
know.
it looked like Gringo was supposed to land on him because Gringo was doing a splash off of whatever crazy concept they had planned, and missed him. And then it was like, ah, shit, boom, package pile driver or whatever for the finish. But God, that
Yeah.
match was nuts, bro. And I was actually all over the place for that one because I was up on the stage actually, bro. So I was in the front row on the stage. I actually bought the tickets from Brendan Sokler, who had bought the tickets from KG. Kevin Gill ended up selling Brendan the tickets. Brendan's cat had some kind of surgery and couldn't go, so he ended up
Oh
signing up buying one
man.
of the tickets, and somebody else bought the other one. So we were in KG's
Yes.
original seats.
Was it my boy? Was it Sino? Our boy John. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if
right.
that.
I couldn't
Yeah.
remember. It was John. I couldn't remember where you were. You actually told me. I was like, "Hey, you're gonna be hanging out with John." I'm like, "Am I?" Brendan didn't tell me who bought the ticket yet because he actually mistagged me for some reason when he was tagging everybody on it. He tagged the wrong Twitter handle, so I didn't even see any of the stuff he was posting all day. I was like, I even commented. I was like, no wonder I didn't know what was going on. You mistagged me on Twitter.
Damn. So you
So
got to sit with my boy Sino,
yeah,
but that looked like
but
it looked like a fun event though.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
was all over the place too because my boys that weren't wrestling, the guys that were there hanging out, like some of the young, dumb, and broke guys I was hanging out with, and some people they were like right there in the corners, kind of watching. So I was like going down there and hanging out with them and bouncing up and down. I was all over the place, man. Going and seeing
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa. Some of the my friend Kate Hensler was there from Fightful and the Mark Order podcast, and all those the Shining Wizards guys were there. So I was going to see them. SP3 from the True Hill Heat podcast was there, so I was going and seeing him. So I was all over the place, man. I was drunk. So I was like, whoo, I was all over the spot, bro. I was having a good time. I was having a
yeah.
good time. I got so many texts from people. They're like, man, it looks like you're having a real good time. I'm like, can you see me? They're like, yeah, dude, you're right on stage. We can see you the whole time. I'm like, I am definitely having a good time. So I lived up to the brand of just me having a good time wherever I go. So
Yeah, that's definitely wrestling. That was us at Arthur Ashe for sure. We definitely went and had a fantastic time, and I missed that. And here in Canada, we don't have this bumping like indie scene and stuff. We had quite a few things that were catching on, but the pandemic has just put it dead in its tracks. I mean, WWE did that before the pandemic. They definitely swept those indies there, but it's crazy to see that something like GCW can continue on and do that well. But it looked like a riot. I want to go to a show, a GCW show one day, and I got to get that off the bucket list. But
you have to.
Yeah.
I tell everybody that it's even if you're not a fan of GCW. And you're a fan of wrestling, you need to go and give it a shot, because if you're not a fan, you're probably going to be a fan when you leave. You're going to see something there that is for you. That's definitely what your taste in wrestling is, and you're probably going to find stuff that you didn't think you liked that you now like a lot more because you saw it. You saw it from a different vantage point and from a different perspective. And yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, you have to go to a GCW show. I will say that it's definitely, and some people still might not like it. It might not be for everybody, but they have such a broad spectrum of wrestling that they offer you. They give you a little bit of everything. It's like a fucking circus show, man, because they have everything. They have like you said, there's a lucha match. There was one you're supposed to get a pure match like John Gresham and Blake, but instead you got just a
That
stupendous
match was
match
great.
between
Yeah.
Leo and Blake. Instead, you get something for everything, and on their show, and it's definitely it's definitely something that people need to check out if you're a wrestling fan. And that environment too is like nothing else, man. It's electric in that building, even any building that they go to. I've been to numerous GCW shows. In every place, every time I go, it's just the atmosphere is something else. It's something special, and I haven't seen anything like it since the '90s when I was riding that peak wave of ECW when I was 15 to 18 years old and traveling the country. Then going and watching shows, get my mom to drop me off, talking to me like, "You can drop me off at this. You can drop me off and go find something to do for 2.5, 3 hours and just pick me up," because my mom didn't want to go watch that shit. So yeah, she
She
would just
wasn't a
drop me
fan of
off.
Sandman. Tommy Dreamer.
Now she liked WCW,
Francine.
but I mean, that wasn't her thing. She didn't like the blood and the cussing and the whatever
Yeah.
and the boobs. So yeah, she was always just doing go and watch a movie while I go and hung out and watch ECW for 3 hours. So it was
It's
one
like
of
the
those
same
things, man.
thing.
Yeah,
It
it's
does.
very much the same.
It's similar.
feel.
It's very similar. It's a similar feel, and I think they're on top of it with the streaming stuff. I think they're pretty on par. Like they look like a solid product with their production values. Pretty good. So.
Yeah, and I mean it's funny too because I interviewed like 12 of the GCW roster last week leading up to Hammerstein. I did an interview series where I interviewed a lot of them. I interviewed ASF, also Gringo Loco from that match, Kevin Gill, Emil J. You should check out all of them, but those are all really good. Jimmy Lloyd's was good. Tony Deppins was good. Who else did we do? Jack Cartwheel. Dude, I did so many. I'm losing track of them, but go check them out. They're on our YouTube. They're all really good. But we all compared it to that Barely Legal push, for ECW when they were getting on pay-per-view and just the feel of the whole thing. And man, it was
100%. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, I was or right when I was ordering the pay-per-view, I think I joked to my roommate. I said, is Nick Gage backstage doing the Paul Heyman Barely Legal speech? What is it? Because this is the dance.
I'm gonna drop a little news for on you guys, a little dirt.
Yeah, for sure.
Nick Gage, that whole thing, Nick Gage really wasn't almost there. That was real. Like,
damn,
that situation with Nick when he posted that video the other day of like, I might not be. Why aren't you going to be there? Talk to GCW manager about it. That was a real thing. There was a lot of stuff going on there, and apparently 2 days before the pay-per-view, they had a dinner and worked it out. Obviously, as you saw during the match, there is the paper match showed you, but a lot of things were shuffled around. I'm pretty sure because of how that happened. Because they, like I said, 2 days before the pay-per-view, they worked things out with Nick to actually appear and put all the issues that they had and the trouble that was going on there to bed and fixed it. So he showed up on the thing, which obviously changes a lot of stuff, because that's now going to be your main event, whatever Nick's doing, so like
yeah,
shuffle a lot of stuff around.
Yeah.
I think it made a lot of changes, but
Nick
needs to be there. He needs to be there. He had to be there, and it would have been just a shame if he wasn't, especially in that type of moment. And it was good for him to come back, especially after that, because like you say, he took some time off to heal his mind, body, and soul. A little rehab, I think, as well for him. So it worked out. He's doing great. It looks like. I talked to him a little bit. So man, I'm just proud of all those guys, man. It was such a big night for everybody,
No, it looks super fun. And Jeff Jarrett's My World's remix was lit. So
it was
so good. What about AEW Dynamite?
It was a fun show tonight, man.
Yeah,
I did. I always try to watch it.
Yeah. Do you usually watch?
That's the one I watch live.
Yeah, it's definitely the one show.
Week.
Yeah. If I watch anything, it has become, since its incarnation, it has been the show that I definitely watch. I thought I definitely was super into wrestling when NXT was in its great run with the hot takeovers. But when when the indies were getting crazy hot, when New Japan was getting super hot there, and everything came together with AEW, I just got so invested. It just felt so much fun to be a fan and watch it and just jump into it.
Speaking of those takeovers, man, I did those too. So I went to the first takeover through everyone at Full Sail until they finally went on the road, and I didn't go to the, so I went to every takeover in Full Sail, and I got to see that rise. I saw all the debuts they had there, and none of that compares to that run that AEW had. And honestly, I've had more fun going to GCW lately than I did the most. It's just more. It's more. Yeah, just like the atmosphere. I just like the environment. Yeah, it's more me. I'm a dive bar guy.
It's pretty. ECW, GCW would be the dive bar aspect of.
It's a totally different fan set too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that's one thing too. Like the AEW fans the AEW fans are closer to the GCW fans if you think, but the NXT fans, when I was good during that NXT Full Sail run, that was a tough crowd to be a part of, man. I really got annoyed by that. I had more fun going to the food trucks and getting food by myself than sitting in part of that crowd, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I find that the AEW crowds are pretty fun. But then, I mean, sometimes when I watch these shows, I'm thinking, is there problems with the mics, or does this crowd just like not care? Because in certain crowds, like it seems
I'm at a lot of them, and usually what they do is they have the mic set up for the ring and not for the crowd as much, because I think they're on TV and they don't want to catch those holy shits and like you fucked up and all those chants that might get them in trouble with the censors and then have to do the editing. So I think they're micing up more of the ring noise and the levels they do, they kind of tone the ring. Because people always ask me, they're like, what's the crowd? Why is this crowd suck? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Look at my videos that I'm posting on Twitter. And it's like a totally different, you know, I mean, you can just hear it totally different. So I think a lot of times it has to do with TV and being that like you can't really control what the crowd's going to say, but yet that can cost you some money. So, you know, because Tony will always come out before the shows and be like, all right, guys, you know, please remember, try not to say anything, you know, on TV, like no holy shits and, you know, no, don't swear on TV. So I think a lot of that has to do with that. I mean, I don't know for a fact, you know, I mean, that's just me just listening, because you can hear the ring. And sometimes when you're sitting in the crowd, I can even hear, because they've got those big clear sound amplifying things that pick up like pointed at the ring, so like you can actually sometimes hear them talking if they're too close to that, like to the corner, like the two wrestlers talking to each other when you're in the crowd, because it's banging that sound out and kind of taken away from, it's not pointing at the fans, it's pointing at the ring. So I think it has a lot to do with this, what they're trying to catch, and I suppose is what they're trying to like not be responsible for.
Sometimes they're like they're super hot crowds. And you know what? I thought I was at the beginning of this show, because it starts off with a match that you would figure is hot, but maybe some fans are maybe not thinking the same way. Well, we're starting off AEW Dynamite from Wednesday, January 26th, and it does start off at this beach break. I don't know many beaches in Ohio.
One. I got corrected. There's one.
There's a good beach?
No, I don't say it was good, but there's apparently a beach in Cleveland, because I asked this question on Twitter, and the people of Cleveland were quick to talk shit to me about how there is a beach. I asked if there was palm trees, because all the graphics had palm trees, and they're like, no, there's no palm trees. They showed it to me, and you saw it in this episode. It was frozen, completely fucking frozen, and it looked like where even a wave had frozen, where it looked like there was like a crest of like where the water was like an ice block bigger than the actual.
So cold.
It looked cold as shit, dude. It looked like they were in like part of like Game of Thrones up north, like they were taking this down the wall. But apparently that there is a beach, but there is no palm trees, and it was like 10 degrees. So
I mean, it's freezing here in Toronto, and it looked freezing there. So it's funny that they're doing a show called Beach Break in a really cold spot, but bless them. I
guess it was solely because you're featuring Orange Cassidy in this one, and that was like his move is the beach break. So it doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't really understand it. I thought it was obvious to me.
Do it on a beach.
Gargano's going to do something, maybe is what I was thinking, but you got a bait and switch there. But yeah, at least they filmed the little vignettes and promos on a beach in Jacksonville. That was in Jacksonville. So I mean, hey, they used an actual beach. So
it makes it feel like they're gonna fight on the beach. As they should. That would be the match, the beach
blast 94 style or whatever it was.
Do it. No, that would be great. I would be for. I liked when they did it on the boat, and I want them to do it on a beach. They should do it in the Mall of America.
Did it twice on a beach, like back in the day. They had the one with Hogan and Vader in the cage, and then they had the other one a couple years before that out there, I think too, or another one. Maybe I was inside.
Like AEW should do the Mall of America. They should do a show there, just like the Monday Night Raw one. I'm trying to think of like they should do.
It was the first Nitro.
Nitro, sorry, that's right.
Yeah, I'm a WCW diehard, bro. You're speaking my language right
now. They should do it in like weird places like that, because honestly, it's like it changes it up. It looks cool. Maybe just not the bike rallies. I
don't know, dude. Sturgis was the shit back in the day, man. That was wild, dude. There was like 100,000 people there.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. I mean, they didn't make shit for money off of it.
Exactly.
But the exposure and the setting was cool. That's kind of like when they did that one at Venice Beach or wherever it was in California with that Hogan Vader one, dude. There was a shitload of people on the beach, but you can't sell. How do you sell tickets to that? I mean, you can sell probably some, but like, I mean, it's like anybody can just walk up to it. It's a fucking public beach. So it was like the Mall of America. I think anybody got to go to that one for free unless you were sitting right there in the seat. So like you could just be shopping and hanging out upstairs and watching that shit for free. But
imagine you're just on a beach, just walking around, and oh look, here's Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara.
Well, I think Beyond Wrestling did that this summer, didn't they? They had Borscht at the beach or something like that. I know my friend Masha Slamovich was wrestling at it. I need to look up the name, but there was one this summer, an indie show on a beach, and it was apparently badass. So
there you go, more beach wrestling.
But what's funny to me is, so did you notice this week they on Dynamite they started the ladder match with everybody already in the ring, right? And the introductions were going, both guys. That's exactly what GCW did this weekend too with their ladder match.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing with their ladder match. To like, it helps with time. I mean, they were worried about time. You know, I mean,
I'm shocked. Cody usually gets half an hour on the show just to.
His entrance is so awesome. Usually not awesome and good, but just like because he soaks in those boos, he just draws them in so well and is so oblivious to it. It's great. But
so this match here today, this is, I mean, Cody's on this weird run where he thinks he's the baby face. Is he the baby face? It's all up to our.
It's perfect heeldom. It's so great.
It's this thing we've never seen before. Yeah, I personally I did not like his promo last week, but I still am a fan of Cody, and the fact that he gets people so heated. He's clearly doing something right, I think. But he's going up against Sammy Guevara. Cody beat Sammy for that TNT title, and everyone was pissed. And then Cody got what he was near someone who had COVID, so he went to isolate for 2 weeks. And then there was an interim title, and now we're gonna find out who the true, champion of TNT/TBS is in this rematch. And I mean, this has story because Cody has beaten Sammy now twice. So there's still like there's still Cody playing the baby face here, even though you could hear some boos for Sammy. I did think as well. Yeah. Well, this starts off with them like doing the handshake thing. They start to wrestle and then get a bit more vicious. There's then the clothesline from Cody that he's like this running one on the outside that looked nasty. There was a superplex off a ladder at one point from Cody. Again, looked crazy. There was the commercial break when we see Cody setting up more ladders. There's a figure 4 with a ladder when we're back. And then there's this spot that I have never seen in pro wrestling. We were talking about that GCW chicken fight destroyer spot. Clearly someone here tonight, Sammy Guevara, said, hold my beer, because there's 2 ladders set up. Cody is climbing it to grab the 2 TNT titles. And Sammy does a leapfrog off the top rope, like basically Mario jumping off one ladder, flying over the other ladder in midair, catches Cody with the cutter, the RKO, whatever you want to call it, and they crash to the mat. This spot was absolutely insane.
And that's not even probably the highest spot, the craziest spot of the match.
I think it was. Oh, I thought it was.
What about the swanton off the top onto the other ladder?
Yeah. I mean, dude. This one was like Jeff Hardy when he got speared off that ladder. Like, this guy's leapfrogging off
the way he landed on that swanton to the other ladder, there was no give on that other ladder, and oh my god, it looked. That made me. I was nervous. I was nervous during that. I was nervous watching my boys do that one this weekend. Here's where they didn't screw up like happened at GCW. They had more than one ref holding the ladder.
Yeah, there's refs holding the ladders.
Everybody was telling me, all my friends were like, all the people there, all the GCW guys, there was 3. There was 3 holding the ladder. I was like, dude, no, there wasn't. There was 1, and the other guy moved the ladder, and the other guy didn't know what he was doing. He was all out of place. 1 person was holding the ladder. At least they had more. That's why there was 3 refs down there at night. So we were in a group chat. My buddy was bitching. He's like, why are there refs in a ladder match? I'm like, dude, to help at the time. You know what I mean? There's going to have to hold ladders and help organize shit and move stuff out of the ring to make sure people don't get hurt. He was just bitching about it. And I was like, how does it make you feel knowing there's not just 1 ref, there's 3 running around? He's like, there's 3. He was like, oh, son of a bitch. And he was all bitch. I'm like, dude, they need it. It's the only way to make this pull off without killing each other. And then you see why. They have to hold these ladders for these guys.
I mean, there was another spot. There was the crossroads off the ladder from Cody. That was nasty.
Oh yeah. And then Sammy hit the rope once too from the top of that ladder, where he hit that rope on from when he fell, and it hit his face instead of catching under his armpits or whatever. He hit his fucking face.
Yeah, I mean, ladder match is pretty scary. This is where Fuego del Sol is like, hey man, Cody, stop this, which gets a mixed reaction from the crowd, which then gets a bigger mixed reaction when Cody hits him with the Tiger Driver, sends him packing, which was pretty funny.
I like that they're like, why is Fuego even in there? Like,
JR was mad.
Yeah,
JR's always
but it's
mad
funny too because it still plays up the whole that's not Fuego Dos or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that Cody isn't Fuego Dos. I really love that.
Yes, part of the whole thing too fast, too Fuego. Yes. Yeah. I don't know how Sammy does this move, but the GTH, the go to hell, it still looks like he's just nailing the guy in the head. But hits Cody with that. He goes to try to climb, but Cody comes. They're hanging at one point upside down. or hanging at like the titles.
Yeah.
But we finally get to finish with, well, we mentioned that Swanton already, where he
God.
jumped off the thing here, but he crushes him. Eventually, Sammy smacks Cody with the title off the top. He drops to the ground, and Sammy wins it. He's the true, undisputed TNT champion, Sammy Guevara. But yeah, this match was crazy. Some of these spots were very old school. They took different spots from famous ladder matches almost and put them all together. But what did you think?
That match was, dude, that was an opener. Like, that match was incredible. Like, and I was tweeting about it. I was just like, holy shit. And then a few minutes later, I was like, once again, holy shit. And I didn't know how many times they keep saying it, because they just kept making me say holy shit. That was an insane opening match. Terrific ladder match. And Cody didn't even have to bleed.
He didn't bleed. I feel like he was trying.
I feel like he was supposed to. Why else did he have that new freshly peroxided head? Somebody talked about that on my Twitter. I was like, man, Cody's very peroxided out today. And they were like, it's probably because of the blood. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Ric Flair it up real good, freshly blonded so that he can really shine that red out. But it didn't happen. So
where do you go with Cody here? Because now Sammy is the champion. I was shocked that Sammy won, but I was actually happy. It makes it a lot more interesting. Cody didn't need that title to begin with here with this story, but it was a good feat for Sammy to get over that. But Sammy can go on and have all amazing feuds with so many different people. But where is Cody? Does it eventually get more heated? Does he rival with someone else, or?
Well, weren't they teasing some other stuff during this too? Like, wasn't he starting to feud with like Andrade?
I mean, I feel like he's still feuding with
Andrade
all these people.
doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
he's
Cody,
always feuding with these.
He can do something.
He's feuding with these people.
Yeah, he'll do something.
Well, after that awesome ladder match, which I can't recommend enough, we go to a beach break update from Tony Schiavone, and yes, we go to the beach.
Finally, you see it. It looked beautiful, right?
It's the Fortress of Solitude, basically here.
Literally, I was waiting for the dragon on the other side from fucking Game of Thrones to be out there, dude. It was
this
crazy.
Is so fun. Okay, so Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks are here, but they're in their
Powerhouse shirtless too.
Yeah, it's their beach attire. So he's in his overalls and a brown fur coat and like ski goggles on his head, sunglasses, and then Starks is in like a whole snowboard ski outfit with goggles. This was already in the running for Best Fit 2022. I know there's going to be red carpets at the Oscars or whatever else has to happen, but this is instantly the best look. Tony Schiavone is interviewing them, and he says he's freezing, and he's selling that they're making fun of the fact that it's beach break.
He looked cold. Tony looked cold.
Yeah,
and Hobbs told him to man up too. Wearing that strong ass fur, dude. He was looking.
Yeah,
he looked. Strong.
They looked great. This is great. Just a look. This is a look here. This is wallpaper material for someone out there. But I laughed so hard that the fact that they actually went to the beach and it's ice and snow. We go to Cleveland's own, which I didn't realize was Cleveland's own. The War Dog, Wardlow. He comes out here and he just crushes.
Huge
three dudes.
Pop too.
Yeah. That's what I mean. This crowd sounded weak, and then that Cody match like perked them up, because after that crazy match,
what they probably did too is they probably turned the levels up for that one so you could hear the crowd more. You know what I mean? When they did it, just because they knew it was going to be like that, and they probably did it for the MJF stuff too.
I mean, here it was loud for Wardlow. Yeah. I had to commentary.
He's way over, man. It was like that in Raleigh. It's been like that everywhere I've been when I've seen him. Like, the crowd's big for Wardlow. I mean, they see it. They know that he's going to be he's going to be a future star. And he's like, I consider him homegrown talent. You know what I mean? I barely had heard of him on the indie scene before they signed him at all.
No, me neither. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, for sure. Well, he power bombs these guys to oblivion. They say it's the power bomb symphony. I think there was like 5, 6, 7 power bombs, one on top of the other.
Yeah,
it's over. Wardlow wins. So yeah, Wardlow getting that crazy. I mean, when it happens, it'll be great with the MJF stuff. But they're setting him up to look like a monster.
Oh, his turn's happening sooner than you think. It's happening.
Yeah, probably with the things there. Yeah, the things. I mean,
Spears too. I think that's fun. I like that, how Spears is wanting to go in and just waffle him with the chair, and then Wardlow was like, "Nah, dog." Not doing it. And then
the chairman.
Spears is all disappointed. All right, big guy, we'll let it slide. Screw him. I like Spears is fun. So that'll probably be the match before you get, of course, before you get MJF.
Oh, yeah.
You'll get the Spears program with Wardlow first, and then they eventually will,
It's like Triple H and Batista, like the WrestleMania 21 build. It's like he's still his boy, but he's like slowly every week. It's like, he's gonna beat the shit out of both Sean Spears and MJF at one point. Just murder Sean Spears too with chairs. With chairs, of course. He'll love
Spears
it.
Spears is so good at that role too, of just like
being the chairman.
Just really making somebody look really fucking good. You know what I mean? Like he's
like
perfect.
Wardlow. Yeah.
He's gonna make Wardlow look. I mean, Wardlow always looks strong. You know what I mean? But he's gonna really make him look like a fucking superstar, because he's gonna just not carry him in the ring, but just gonna be able to just, having I hate to say good hand, but that's what he is. You know what I mean? Somebody that's just a good person to have in the ring that is going to be able to protect greener talent, help tell a story and get a story across, and just do all these other little things with them that just really makes them just their stock so much more and elevated along the way. And that's why WWE did that with every new person they brought in. They fed them to Sean Spears, Ty Dillinger, and NXT. That was every new debut, every new person that came in, they had to wrestle Ty Dillinger, because he's going to teach you the WWE way to work, and he's going to make you look good on your way up. And that was their program. That was what happened every time, and that was like literally the plan. And that's, you see it happening here too. You know what I mean? Like you get, and there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? Because he knows how to make these guys look good, pull great matches out of talent that's a little bit greener, and you don't have to worry about like what's going to happen in there, because you know that he's going to just do his job. And his job is,
wasn't that the storyline? The good hand. He was a good hand.
That was the storyline when he came in, and they did a good job making that. You know what I mean? Like, it's true, but it's making it into a storyline. But that's what he is. It's awesome. He's awesome. I'm a big Sean Spears fan.
Shout out Sean Spears. And we go to
Canadian,
yes,
right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another Canadian on the show, Jericho. He comes down to the ring with Proud and Powerful, but during the entrance, they walk off without him.
Gave him a shoulder from
the cold shoulder. The cold shoulder here. As Jericho's pyro, so he does.
I think it was Santana, wasn't it? Was it Santana that gave him the shoulder?
So Jericho and Proud and Powerful 6-man tag against 2.0 and Garcia.
I love those guys.
And they all these guys here. I mean, this match, the story is Proud and Powerful don't need Jericho. They're basically, we don't need you, essentially. It's not a breakup quite there yet. So they ignore Jericho in this. They're pretending he doesn't exist, and they do the whole match themselves. They're doing all their classic moves. There's some splashes, tagging in and out. Garcia, though, is beating down on Ortiz during picture-in-picture. We get a Samoan driver from Santana as he fights back and tags in. There's these roll-through cutters. There's a powerbomb lariat combo, still ignoring Jericho. Finally, there's a moment when all the three guys are fighting the two. Jericho gets up there, hits the Judas effect, which allows Santana to hit a pile driver on Matt Lee and get the win. But Jericho didn't do anything except the elbow and kind of says, "Oh, you didn't need me? Looks like you may have needed me just a little."
And then he didn't celebrate with him.
Yeah. So
he didn't celebrate. Then he left and went up on the stage while they sat in the ring, and he was just kind of laughing like, look at that. And it was very good storytelling. You know what I mean? But
I mean, they're taking a real thing where everyone is like, "Oh, Proud and Powerful are being wasted in this inner circle Jericho thing."
Yeah, I hear it a lot, right? That Jericho holds them back, and they use that.
They're using it as
a storyline, which is what they've done. What we just said with the hand thing with Sean Spears. They do a good job of that.
Yeah,
and I think it kind of adds to the. Because the AEW is a very smart marquee, crowd, and I think that it plays into that, because it's like takes the stuff that you hear them bitching and saying on Twitter, you know what I mean, and then it's just like, oh yeah, see, we knew it was true, and it feeds that. It's smart booking at the same time to tap into that, like what your company's built around. That's that fan base, you know what I mean? That's the internet smart marquee fans, or the AEW's diehards. No offense, I fall into that. You know what I mean? I don't care. 100%. I mean, we all do. You have to admit, most AEW fans, the ones that know what's going on, are more in tune to the dirt sheet, the news, the backstories, the histories and stuff. But when you get there, you do see the people that come to AEW because they and they're surprised. I love to go into the shows and you hear, I didn't know this guy was doing wrestling still. You know what I mean? Because they're just the casual fans that should have, because they heard Daniel Bryan was here now and didn't know he was even Bryan Danielson. Or they're like, oh, I saw Chris Jericho on TV. I didn't know he was even wrestling. And you get those fans. But for the most part, you know, it is a different, they play very well into that, their audience, and using that
real life into the
real life
storyline,
shit into the storyline is great. But
and it will lead to something good for P&P. Eventually we'll get the title shots and stuff down the line. They're definitely destined for that. So there's no rush. I feel like you don't need to necessarily do a inner circle crazy breakup thing, but you could do that. But P&P just being on their own while still like associated or whatever. But it's the story right now is they like, we don't need you, Jericho. Lance Archer, he's got a promo. He's talking about Hangman Page and how he has a title shot and he's challenging him to a match, and it's going to be a Texas death match. And they have a great clip where there's a sit down of Hangman with the title, and like the producer of the segment says, oh, here's the contract, and Hangman accepts, but then the producer has to say, oh, actually it's a Texas death match. And Hangman's reaction is, a what? A what? A Texas death match.
I hope they have a Texas death match in Florence, South Carolina, to kind of go along with this beach break being in Cleveland gimmick bullshit.
I mean, well, wait a second. I mean, we're not getting ahead of ourselves for a second, if that makes sense, because in 2 weeks is when this match is happening. And someone told me this match is happening in Atlantic City.
Yeah. Okay, that's even better, because I saw that they were in Texas like 3 or 4 times the next month. So why not just build it a little longer to get to that?
Till Texas?
Or why not have beach break if they're in like Galveston, Texas, or wherever they're going to be? Or like, how about when they come back to Florida for the beach next week or whenever it is, when they're in Jacksonville in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's questionable, but so yeah. Okay. So I was joking. I was just making a joke. So really the Texas death matches in
2 weeks,
New Jersey at Atlantic City. That's even better.
That's crazy. Probably. Yeah. There's not in Texas. So
why not just call it something like a boardwalk? You know what I mean? Like, talk shit about that. I mean, make that, you know,
it's because it's his. Yeah, it's because
I know.
I
mean, I get that it's his thing. He's from Texas, and he's the Texas whatever quarter. Wasn't he a quarterback at like UTEP or somewhere like that? Crazy.
He's big. Quarterback? Yeah, he's big. I like Lance Archer in those Texas death matches, so I think this match will be all right. It's a good TV program for Hangman here before we kind of get to the next one. But he says he's gonna, everybody dies. He quotes his song, says he's gonna kick out of all his moves and stuff. So 2 weeks.
I wonder if we get Lambert with him and Jake Roberts, or just Jake Roberts for this one.
Yeah, it's a bit much with both of them. I feel like Lambert needs to find the right person. First, he found what he says is real men, and it's like the 2 male model guys. And then now he wants a real man who's already got like a really good promo. So I'm not saying Lambert's not a good talker. So like, I don't know if he already has Jake. I feel like you could have just done Jake confronting Hangman without Lambert.
Yeah, there's a lot of no rhyme and reason to this, some AEW booking, but it is what
some of it. Yeah. I mean, well, continuing that sediment right there, Cassidy, because our next segment is
I can segue to like a son of a bitch.
Jurassic Express is backstage. That means it's Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage. And Matt Hardy is there with Private Party. And they mentioned that Private Party is a high-ranked team here, which means they're getting a shot at Jurassic Express, and not like those ass boys, the Gun Club. And then they say that they're ranked, and that Matt Hardy
number 1.
Yeah, they said. I thought that the Acclaimed were. Is that because they lost now?
Yeah, I guess they fell down to like number 2 or something.
Yeah, possibly. Well, they say Matt Hardy says Private Party is the best tag team since myself and my brother, referring to the Hardy Boys, and says it's their time. And then Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Christian, they're like, all right, cool, we'll see you. And Jungle Boy says that Private Party's watches are fake,
which is a fun nod to the like it's their time, and his time is fake.
Right.
Yeah, witty.
Yes.
Like smart promo work. But speaking of 2 haphazardly booked things, like the Hardy. Wait, no, AHFO now, because it's now the Andrade Hardy.
Yeah,
family.
you got to say it correctly with your chest. The HFO.
Hey, H.
Afo.
HFO. Yeah,
FO.
Ahafo. So that's just a hodgepodge of what the fuck booking, and don't even get me started on this Jurassic Express like deal, because that's a sensitive subject to me right now, honestly, with my boy Marco apparently getting.
Yeah, true. Marco seems to
He's open for bookings. We had a long talk, a little heart to heart this week, because that's my boy. I've been worried about him. I know he's doing the voice.
That's
but
awesome.
He's good. He's doing good. But
that's awesome that he's on The Voice. Yeah, I mentioned that a few weeks ago when that story was out, because that's so cool. I'm so excited to see it. I feel like the wrestling fan community will support him. And
oh god, he's
like,
so
I'll never watch
bro.
The Voice, but now I'll watch.
I'm gonna watch every
like,
week. I'm gonna watch
season.
every week, and I'm the same way. I never will watch The Voice in my life.
Yeah.
I've never watched it more than like 10 minutes, because one of my female friends was like, "We gotta watch The Voice," and I turned it on. But dude, I will watch every episode when Marco's on it. And like that was when I went up for Grand Slam. I stayed an extra day just to go to Emo Fight because Marco was performing, and I surprised him there, and he was didn't know I was even there, because I didn't tell him I was coming up for Grand Slam. So it was that's my dude. A little salty that that he's no longer part of Jurassic Express, and probably I guess on his way out, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be fine, man. He'll be fine. He'll be actually get used properly places, I think, hopefully,
Yeah, you know what? I think could be a good thing too. I do. Because I liked him before. He got that buzz before AEW, and definitely why he got picked up.
Well, I mean, he got the buzz from GCW. So
that's right. Exactly.
He'll be right back there. He was there this weekend. That's where I got to see my guy. He got to do a spot. They used him. So, and he's been cleared to wrestle since November. So it's not like the injury's still there. So, I mean, he can do stuff if he needs to. I mean, at least he was cleared for light stuff in November, but he had a concussion, but he's good, so he'll be, I mean, it's good to see. It was good to see him this weekend, because you're not going to see him apparently on TV right now for them, but
it's okay. We have Christian Cage with Jurassic Express.
Because that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Like perfect sense there. What's the reasoning? Because Jungle Boy liked Christian Cage and he was even younger than he is now. So like, that's my new. Yeah, so
I think that's Matt Hardy.
That's really, that's really, I think the logic behind that storyline is that like the Jungle Boy's like, man, I looked up to you when I was a kid, and Christian's like, I'll mentor you then, and now that's the point. So whatever,
Yeah, I feel like that's the storyline with Private Party and Matt Hardy, anyways. But
so we're getting what that started at. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll see what happens. I guess we expect what we expect there, right? I don't think anybody expects Private Party to win, but it's going to be a good match. That they're going to do all types of cool shit. Isaiah and Mark, they are very, very, very talented. They might be the best tag team since the Hardy Boys. No offense to the Bucks or anybody else, but like, dude, they just don't get a chance to show it very often.
Well, we got to see it. This is it. Rampage. This match, yeah.
So they're recording it right now, I think.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Yep. Well, actually, I've been doing spoilers. I just got the spoilers. I've been doing spoilers for it. So my friend just sent me that match just finished up. So yeah, we got that match.
Posting the spoilers.
I'm not posting them. I'm sending them into another site. Do you know what I mean? So they can post them under my name. But yeah, here I am saying I don't spoil shit, and I am really literally sending in spoilers for the Rampage to Ringside News while we're doing this. So whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, next part of Dynamite is CM Punk. He comes out in his long boys. He says hello, Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, he mentions the long boys too at one point.
Yeah, do you call those tights, trunks, or pants? What are those really called? They're trunks. They're trunks, right?
No, these are tights. These are long tights.
Yeah, so CM Tights was there tonight. It wasn't CM Trunks. Trunks are the like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Trunks, CM Tights was there.
Yeah. He says he's got, and this is when he reveals that he still has MJF's scarf, and that he did some digging, and that you can get a bunch of these scarves on Amazon. And I actually did some digging, and I found the exact scarf that CM Punk had with him. It's the FRAAS plaid oversized cash mink woven, and it's $50 on Amazon. So Punk was downplaying the price just a little bit, but
imagine that.
But he's making fun of the scarf.
Punk exaggerating about something online.
He then talks about Long Island and that it's made in Long Island, and he knew it wouldn't be made of strong material. Just shitting on Long Island. He says he's beaten FTR, he's beaten Wardlow.
Strong Island, wasn't it? If you ask Tony Nese, it's Strong Island. I'm surprised Tony Nese didn't show up. Hey, maybe that's what happens next week. Tony Nese shows up and kicks the shit out of him.
Is Tony Nese from Long Island?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and they actually
MJF
introduced him as from Strong Island. In fact, that's what his
That's right,
thing. Like,
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that's what I was saying. Like, he should show up now. Storyline. Yeah, there we go.
Well,
That'd be the
it's
spoiler next week.
Yeah, it's almost like they could have set that up, but instead they announced that they're in Chicago. Wow, can you believe it? They're finally going to Chicago. I can't believe.
So there's something. I had that's you bringing up everything that's been brought up in my group chat today about this, and I had to like make a comment to them too. So I wrote about this. Like Chicago, they heavily have plans to cement themselves as number 2 market. Chicago, like there'll be no doubt when anybody goes to Chicago that you're going into AEW territory. So they will be running in Chicago. They had plans to run 2 pay-per-views a year there at one point. You know, like out of their potentially only 4, they were thinking about doing Revolution and all out there every fucking year. You know, plus Thanksgiving night Rampage or Dynamite, the Wednesday night Dynamite before Thanksgiving is going to be there every year too in Chicago. So I mean, yeah, no, I mean everybody. I don't blame them. That's a huge hot market. You have 4 or 5 huge arenas that you can rent, obviously sell out anytime you want to go there. And you know, WWE took advantage of that market for a long time, so they're going to milk the shit out of it. I guess the South, you know, Florida is probably their number 1 because that's another place that WWE, you know, kind of takes for granted. So I mean, it's good business.
Yeah,
it's
as
a
much
huge wrestling market in the
yeah.
80s and 90s that just has gone unused for a while. You know, WWE doesn't treat it well, and that's Tony's home base. That's where he's from. So he said he's like, that's our number 2 market. We're going to come in there and, you know, just bang those out and steal that audience from everybody else. And you're going to know you're going to come to AEW territory when you come into the Chicago area. So
I mean, it works. Yeah,
it works.
It's worked for sure. I mean, they seem like, I feel like they're there every other week when I watch it, but then you see that it still sells out. It still does amazing. So it's like, why wouldn't they? I'm just upset because we haven't had one in Toronto yet. So
there's a lot of logistics, I think. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of logistics with getting people to Chicago. I mean not Chicago, but to Toronto, especially right now with the border and stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff going into international work right now. I mean, they should have been in England by now. They had plans to be in England last year.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it's true. Yeah, it will come. It definitely
will come. Oh, it's definitely coming. Yeah. But like, yeah, man,
it'll be a while.
It'll be a while. It has nothing to do with the fans or the market not being there. We're in this shitty area. We're a time for travel. Yeah, and it's not true. Easy for a lot of people to get across the border too, because I think what's the vaccination requirements for bringing people into Canada? Do you have to be vaccinated? You have to be vaccinated to travel in.
There's all sorts of stuff with borders. And stuff.
I think about 60% of your roster is vaccinated, and that's about it. So you're looking at not even being able to bring just over half the people on your roster, and a lot of those are probably your talents that are doing more indie stuff that are working everywhere, and not your upper tier talents that don't have to if they don't want to. You know what I mean? Because they're not out there having to work shows every weekend at places that require it. So there's a lot to do with that I think that people don't realize as far as where they can run too. So like a lot of these places, it's hard for them to run in cities and states that have these weird mandates too, because they're not going to get to use the people that they want to use as well. And sometimes there's exemptions. Like I think New York has a like an entertainer, like they do like an entertainer a loop, like an exemption. So that's why when we did Grand Slam, they didn't even fucking test any of the wrestlers that were competing, because they didn't have to get vaccinated or show proof of, and that's why they had to go through the whole roster. But then half of them didn't get to do Comic-Con, because they have to be vaccinated to do that. And it's not an entertainment thing; it's an appearance thing. You know what I mean? So it's a different. There's a lot of weird shit that goes into bookings, man, with this vaccination stuff right now that people don't realize is like it's real.
But they'll come.
Real hard. Yeah, it'll come.
It's gonna happen. They will come.
We'll get everything's getting better. So
yeah, it will. I have hope. I have hope for the world one day. I'm back to CM Punk. He's talking shit about some MJF, who eventually comes out, and MJF does have a new scarf and says, "Cut my music." And Punk says, "Yeah, cut his crappy music," which is just what a dig. He then says, "You want to see us wrestle?" says MJF. "Well, it won't be tonight. It'll be next week. How about next week in Chicago, CM Punk versus," and he leaves us hanging like he's done the past little while, but he finally says it, MJF. It's on. He says, though, however, we're in Cleveland and there's significance in one gentleman's career, but they want the match now. And instead, I'll take you to Chicago. And then he just starts to berate CM Punk. He cuts him down, saying that he left us. He left. He took his ball. He had a fake smile. You blame everyone else on your failures. And then he says, you've left us before. And on February 2nd, I'm making sure you leave wrestling again. And then he says, why do you people cheer him? Because he left you before, he'll leave you again, just like LeBron James. And the crowd, boo MJF. He definitely set it up properly with the little tease.
And a good nod to the podcasting thing too, where he just would go and bitch about it on podcast.
Yeah.
That was a nice jab too. I'm surprised he didn't actually. I'm surprised I didn't take that a little deeper and mention about how like that friendship too between him and Colt Cabana and stuff.
He kind of says it. Yeah, he mentions that, and he mentions like suing people and getting sued and lawsuits.
Oh,
and
yeah, he did. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did. So
MJF again likes to take the real things and kind of bring it back.
I'd be interested to know what Punk didn't approve for that, because a lot of the stuff that they do in the back and forth, he shoots down. So like this is all stuff that Punk approved for them to say. So like, what do you think MJF tried to get through? That's what I really like to know sometimes.
I know it's what's the right thing? Low hanging fruit to make fun of his UFC, but I feel like MJF hasn't touched the UFC quite enough as I think I was expecting. So maybe that's something that is like, hey, don't talk about that as much. Because he's had one or two little jabs and that's it. But
I think that like there's a lot too there. I think those guys really respect him for going and doing that, even if he lost. You know what I mean?
Of course,
that takes guts to go out there and
no,
try
100%.
something like that. So like I think that a lot of those guys.
That's what I mean by the low hanging fruit, because it's so easy. So I do feel like there could be more to that, but instead he's going, because it's just as equally as like saying that, or like, oh, you left us. So it's like it is kind of like. Yeah, we know, but it's still a good story. I've been liking the story between them, and I do want to see this match, and I'm happy that they're finally at least telling us that we're getting this match.
If Chicago wasn't sold out, it's sold out now. Like, that's 100%. Going to sell that match. That's going to sell that out, knowing that they're going to get that match on TV.
Yeah,
that's a pay-per-view match.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I didn't think we were getting that till pay-per-view.
I think we could. Honestly, I thought that was MJF. Revolution. Does MJF give Punk his first loss and then they rematch it at Revolution?
Yeah, got to, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's first.
And you don't have. I mean, oh man, yeah. I would say you have to do that. You have to, because I thought you were building this for a pay per view. So yeah, like the feud has to continue something here. There's got to be some MJF shenanigans, maybe, or maybe it's clean too, and then Punk's got to like redeem himself somehow. Or I don't know. I'm very interested now with this, because I was totally expecting this to drag out for a while longer, but
I still can. It still will. I
have a feeling too. It's not going to end, but like. Yeah, like, do we get a multi-match series now, like we've been getting with all of MJF, like he did it with? I mean, he's had that so many times.
He kind of already did that, though. Yeah, he kind of already.
Yeah, so that's why I'm wondering, like, do we gonna I mean, that's gonna get old and redundant, and people are gonna get tired of that shit if you're gonna keep doing that. Like, oh, we're gonna get another best of 3 or another. You know what I mean? Like, how many times has he done that now? So, like, if he, I'm interested to see what happens next week. That's a huge Dynamite match too, man.
I think so.
It's a huge
main
match.
Event. I thought they would do that for the first TBS show. I thought they were going to do that, but stretching it out, I think, is something that they will do as well. Punk cuts more of the promo saying that you're just a fan. You're standing in line to meet me. And next week,
which he did.
Yeah, which is funny.
Got pictures of that. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. You're the one listening to those podcasts too. You commented on too, which
mentions the podcast, and then says, I'll get knocked down, but I'll always get back up. And MJF says, oh yeah, great choice of words. Let's test that, as FTR, Wardlow, and are walking down to the ring when Sean Spears attacks from behind, and they all attack him. And there's some chair shots from the chairman. And then Wardlow, he yells at Wardlow. MJF barks orders and tells him to powerbomb him. And you see again the hesitation. The crowd is hot for Wardlow. It's his hometown. Will he turn on MJF right here? No, he just powerbombs CM Punk on a chair. And then MJF does the sit down CM Punk pose, but on CM Punk's chest while posing. Very
solid symbology or whatever. To quote what's the movie? It's Boondock Saints symbology.
I'm getting Kenta vibes here because this is what
Yeah.
Kenta does as
Yeah,
well.
he did that to who did he do that to at
Tana? No.
uh,
Ibushi?
uh
Naito.
it was it Naito? I think it was
Never
Naito.
forget Naito. MJF ends the promo and the whole segment by saying, while on top of him, sitting cross-legged on top of him.
Too.
Yeah. He says, the same place your journey started, the same place it ends, in Chicago next week. Yeah, great build for this match. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's fun. And like you said, like we said, it happened a little sooner than we thought. But I mean, dude, what a you can't. That's gonna tune people in. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's something people want to see. So I mean, let's go. And
For
Chicago,
Yeah,
like I
it'll be
said,
hot for Punk.
you give Chicago huge matches because Chicago is now, like I said, they're going to make that their number 2, if not their number 1 market. You know, I mean, depending upon your subjective standpoint of where you live, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Well, we get the Acclaimed talking about what's been going on with Moxley, and they say that Bones is going to take on Moxley this week on Rampage as well. I'm surprised they didn't really mention some of the Moxley Danielson stuff, because that definitely has my interest with what they did on Rampage with what Moxley, who just came back, leaves his match, and then Danielson's just kind of watching him backstage. I thought that was a great little touch to definitely set up the match that we didn't get. So that is not going to be a match that is given away for free on TV. I think we're getting Moxley Danielson at Revolution.
Yeah.
100%. And I am for it. I wouldn't say I would be excited to see Dean Ambrose versus Daniel Bryan, but John Moxley versus Bryan Danielson sounds pretty badass. Take my money, please.
Oh, they're gonna work stiff. They're gonna beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, they're gonna kill each other.
This is the best John Moxley's been, like the best shape he's ever been in his career. I got to see him firsthand this weekend, dude. The dude looks incredible. I actually drank with him in Atlantic City the night before his Nick Gage match. So just to look, and I'm like, the dude's lost. I mean, you can just see the difference in his face. And
yeah, look at him. Yeah,
and just his overall persona and everything, man. Is he's carrying himself different. So he's feeding off a different type of high now, I think. So I think he's really enjoying the brutality of his matches, because he was telling Homicide to fucking punch him in the face. So I think it's going to be a lot of Danielson and him just striking the shit out of each other. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm really excited. It's going to be like you said, you can't give that one away for free. So
well, we go to Julia Hart backstage with Griff Garrison, and she still has the eye patch when Mark Sterling says, hey, the TBS champ Jade, she says, you're doing good, kid. So she wants to give you a TBS title opportunity. But you just got to sign this, and hopefully there's no injuries, more injuries that succumb to you via the eye. And Griff says, hey, Julia, you might want to think about this before you sign it. And she yells at him like, no, I'll do what I want. Griff, don't tell me how to live my life. Eye patch Julia.
There's some interesting stuff going on there too. I like this. What do you think? Do you think Julia's going to be the 3rd member of the House of Black?
I mean, at this point, Julia is slowly being the symbiote mist is taking over her.
I mean, they even showed her in their little promo package. They featured her, and yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Like, he sprayed her in the eye, and she's now infected with it, kind of thing. That's what I think it happened to his eye.
Yeah,
I mean, go to the eye doctor and fix it.
They're teasing Pac and how he's got some issue with the House of Black, but he's like Daredevil and he's blind and all that. But I think there's potential that he joins as well, because he is conflicted. Julia Hart joins. I joked a few weeks ago on the show that the Varsity Blondes, Griff and Brian, should be the new Brood in this thing if we're going that direction. Really cool. But then there's a whole that's a whole unit, a whole stable. But Julia is definitely turning evils, and they're definitely doing this weird angle, and I'm not necessarily against it, even though Julia did not sound.
Bro, she can become the Blackheart. Julia
Blackheart.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. Like that. Yeah. Our next match is Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet. This match happened because Layla Hirsch is mad at her friend Statlander, who kind of getting all the success. The storyline was weird last week. They said that Layla Hirsch, who's like, hey, because of you, I'm out a lot of money, and then they
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
really,
you cost
they
me
didn't,
money. She didn't get to go to the pay window, as Mance Warner would say.
yeah,
It's all about the pay
didn't,
window, brother.
yeah, they didn't say that last week. She just said, I'm out a lot of money because of you guys. And then this week, commentary quickly are like, hey, because, she lost, and when you win, you get paid more. It's like, yeah, obviously. But the way she said it was like, yo, where's my money? You made me lose my money. You
It was
owe me
great.
money.
It's good. And it brings realism into it, too. Because, like, you've heard that for years, like the pay window. Like, oh, you got to win. You got to go to the pay window. And then finally you get somebody being like, you're fucking with my money. And that's just a good way to have a story, to work a storyline into something that you didn't have before. You know what I mean? It's just a good, something simple, and it gives them something to feud about that they didn't have before. And now they're on TV.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Layla fan, man. She's great. I love hanging out. I love seeing her at these shows and hanging out afterwards. She's just fun to talk to. She's awesome. I'm a huge Layla Hirsch fan.
I mean, at least it gives some sort of story, and I can appreciate them trying that. But Layla Hirsch and Red Velvet have a match. Red rushes the ring here. She doesn't even stir it up. That's how mad she is. And she drops Layla down. There's strikes and going back and forth. Layla takes her down into the corner and running drop kick into her face. There's picture in picture where Layla's throwing her around again. But when we come back, Red hits like a stunner, hits a spear. There's then submission trades, but Layla, who's more of the striker submission expert, rolls Red Velvet up and grabs the tights to get the win, which is definitely cementing this. I mean, we already knew she's heel, but definitely showing that there's a different side of her here. And then after the match, beats her up even more, which then Statlander comes out for the save to chase her off. But Layla wins by sneaky roll up.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. And yeah, I mean, it serves its purpose. You're like you said, progressing the heel turn. Little vengeance for costing her that money, bro. It's all about that pay. It goes back to all about that pay window.
She's just really mad that she's out of money. I didn't love this match, but I do think it's setting up to the main story is that rematch between Layla and Statlander, which now the characters are changed. So it'll. I think that's where
I would like to see her join team. I've been saying it for a long time. She's Team Tazz material, bro. She, especially as a heel. She's
Layla
a shooter.
Hirsch?
Yeah, she's a shooter. She can toss people. You know what I mean? She throws suplexes. She's a striker. Like, I mean, she would fit that mold. But I mean, you don't always got to stable up everybody, I guess. But like, for a long time, I've been like, oh, that's perfect for her. If you need a storyline, put her in Team Tazz. That's your female. You know what I mean? In Team Tazz to have somebody and everything. And they could, I want to see the Statlander and her match, and that's probably what you think. That's probably gonna be Revolution too, I would assume, right?
I would assume maybe next week or the week after, and maybe potentially down the line. But I mean, I love Statlander. I mean,
there's only 3 weeks before Rev. I mean, we got a month now, so we've only got 4 Dynamites before the pay-per-view, right?
Oh, really?
Month. Yeah, I mean, it's March 6th is Revolution, so next week will be the first February show, and then it's a short month, so we got 3 in February, and then the go home. So I mean, if it was me, I would say that's your pay-per-view match between those two, and you progress it a little bit more. But I mean, you got some TV to fill too, so who knows?
Yeah. Well, there's a House of Black promo. We kind of already talked about it, but Julia Hart shows up there. They talk about being thankful. Brody King appears, and they talk about Pac denouncing the house, and you'll be humbled and pray for salvation, and you will be saying thank you. And then they end with, just like death, we are inevitable. Clearly, the House of Black, big fans of Thanos, but the best part of this, I like the weird gothic stuff because I'm always super into that. But the highlight for this was the flashing of the image of the eye patch Julia Hart. It's like, hey, there is
some foreshadowing, bro.
Yeah.
And I like that Pac could. I like what you're saying. Like, I like that too. That he's conflicted with it, and he could easily. It looks like they're trying to recruit him, and they're not recruiting Julia. Like, it's just like hers is going to be more natural turn, which I feel like is the storyline there. And like you said, I think Pac can end up joining eventually too, because they kind of done away with Death Triangle. I don't know, and like we got them on hold because now like Phoenix is hurt again for what? 3 months or something like that. Is it? I don't know. It was a hot minute, man. He was it 3 weeks. It was the number was 3 was in it. If 3 was in it, I don't remember. But he's hurt for a hot minute. So I mean, that's another month. So we might not get him until after the pay-per-view. So this is your program until then, at least,
Yeah, true. I could see them getting rid of the Death Triangle thing. It never really took off because Pac was just never really there, messing up.
And
time
that's COVID
travel.
again. That's COVID.
Yeah,
that
COVID
screwed
messed
that
up.
up. And they put Excalibur in that for some reason at one point, and then just acknowledge this. Just didn't like never mention it again. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah. 1 week they were like, and they literally called Excalibur the newest member of Death Triangle. And then the next week, like Pat couldn't come back because of COVID. And then they're just like,
Excalibur should wrestle then for them.
Forget it. There's like, forget it. That didn't happen.
Yeah. I guess they had some ideas and it didn't play through, which just let it go. Yeah, just let it go at that point. Sammy Guevara's got some cue cards during the picture-in-picture. He says, hey,
do you think he writes those himself, or do you think somebody in production writes those?
He must have great handwriting because they look pretty good. I think someone writes them for him. Very nice.
I would assume so too, but it's beautiful. And it's always the same person. Yeah. You can tell every time.
I don't have penmanship like that, but he talked about he's the true pillar of the company, climbed the ladder. He didn't politic or brown nose. This is all, he's not saying this. It's just on his cue cards. Yeah. And then he says he's worked for 2 years hard and he worked on his vlog, and now he's a supporting role to a key player. I didn't understand why he had to say I didn't politic or brown nose. Is that a dig at Cody or something? It's kind of heelish to say that, but
yeah, I guess because everybody's been making that comment about Cody. You know what I mean? Like who else used that? Somebody else was saying that. Dan Lambert was saying that too.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, I guess that's what that is.
Yeah, we could get some great TNT title matches with Sammy down the line. There's so many different people.
Miro's coming back, and Miro's got to get his belt back, bro. So that's why you do
True.
This. That was why Cody didn't keep the belt. I mean, you got to put Miro's got to be back soon. So I'm assuming that this is where we're getting now, is we're getting just like filler until Miro comes back to redeem himself, because he is the redeemer. He's got to get back in his God's good graces so he can go back to his flexible life, because something's standing in his way. So shit, we got to get that.
You just cut every promo he said in the past little.
It's amazing. He's one of the best promos. So it's about time for him to come back. So I think that's why we did the Sammy saying that stuff about Cody, and I think it's going to set up Miro coming back eventually to fill in that role.
Well, then we go to Tony Schiavone in the ring. He's got these PWI awards, and out comes Britt Baker, who gets these boos because she's rocking the Pittsburgh colors. She mentioned she's won Best Female, Best Most Improved, and Match of the Year for the Lights Out match. She says it truly was the era of DMD, and she's had 9 single victories. And that's just like how Mayfield was sacked 9 times. I'm not a huge sports person. I watch.
That's the Cleveland Browns quarterback, so she's definitely taking a shot.
Yeah, the crowd. I think
that's how many times the Steelers sacked Mayfield.
Got you.
Even in their last game. So I think that was like a good jab at that. Like, so
I mean, the crowd reacted. I mean, I know my sports knowledge comes from wrestling more so. Yeah. Unless it's hockey, I'm okay. But
I was gonna say, you're wearing a hockey jersey.
Yeah,
here,
hockey, I'm okay.
Is it for show?
Yeah. Hockey, I'm all right. But yeah, and some baseball, but definitely not American football. Not my strong suit.
A Grey Cup, you can tell me all about that, right? Canadian football.
Because I work in the media, yes, but I don't want.
Field's bigger both ways, longer.
Roman Reigns, bro. Roman Reigns, CFL former, The Rock former.
He played at Georgia Tech, man. That's where Atlanta. Wow. I mean, that's my area. I remember watching him in college. Like, no bullshit.
Well, she makes a lot of sports references here, and then she almost does a Kurt Angle throwback here with a broken friggin' wrist, she says, and she's done all this, and she's the only Baker that matters. It's a utopia. It's a Britopia, and anyone could have made it their division. Anyone who was going through the past little while this year, but I was the one who jumped and took it for the taking, and I won't settle until I'm the female of the decade. So she's claiming she's not done, even though she's the champ. Step to me, says Britt Baker. Yeah.
Good promo.
Yeah, always a
I like how
promo.
She made a comment about how she hasn't done much she hasn't used the mic much lately. She hasn't done much talking. I'm like, that's awesome, because all you've done is like talk shit. You so great. Such good. She's so good. She's great.
Well, we go to I mean, she's talking about the Lights Out match, but now it's time for her hubby to have a Lights Out match. Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy, main event, beach break. in this lights out match. They remind us that the lights go off, and then when they come back on, this never happened. Forget about it. This next match, it never fucking happened. We get Orange Cassidy in next level because he takes his sunglasses off, his own glasses, and he crushes them. And then he runs at Adam Cole. He's not messing around in this match. He means business. They're throwing each other around ringside, and then Adam Cole throws him into the guardrail. So Cole goes underneath the ring to grab something like a weapon or a chair when he feels some tension, and it seems like someone else is on the other end pulling a chair for the big reveal here in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Danhausen.
It's very evil. It's very evil.
Wow.
I was like, oh shit, I should have had my Danhausen stuff nearby. I don't. Where's it at? Damn it.
Very unexpected.
Botch. I have
Very
Danhausen
evil.
merch nearby. Where the
probably toys. I mean, now he's gonna have a lot more because he's all elite. Danhausen.
Yeah, they made the official announcement. They got the graphic and everything.
Yeah. So Danhausen is for those not how would you explain Danhausen to someone who doesn't know
evil.
He's very evil.
Very evil. He's very evil. Danhausen is probably one of the best characters in wrestling and as long as I can remember. He has done such a good job building that brand of just being one of the most unique personalities in wrestlers in modern memory, and he's very good in the ring. He's incredibly talented and funny, and I think everybody that is not familiar with Danhausen is in for a fucking treat because he is just, man, he's great, man. I really here's what I want. I want him to be the only person that Abaddon talks to, and that like because she never speaks, just screams, but for some reason she says things, or maybe she doesn't even like say words, she just like clicks and stuff at him, and Danhausen can like translate everything that's going on for everybody. That's like her buddy. I really want that to be I cannot wait.
I feel like
it's there. It is there.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the face painted guy. He's definitely been all over the indies and stuff.
Was he a demon? Is that his thing? He's like he's a demon. He's got the bag of teeth. He's cursed. He curses people.
It looks like the Exorcist demon things were definitely the influence there. But yeah, he's like I am interested in seeing some of the comedy stuff that he can do with Orange Cassidy and stuff.
Him on being the elite.
True. Yeah.
The cameos of just him doing just crazy shit. It's just
he's like a little like creepy little guy with the face paint, and then he stops Cole from grabbing the chair, which Cole is then just like shocked, selling it like, I don't know who this guy is. But it's not Johnny Gargano. And then Danhausen just creeps away. Escapes. And then the match continues because that distracted Cole to get a tornado DDT from Orange on the outside. There's a picture-in-picture, and if you were watching, there was a fire extinguisher spot and more chairs. And when we come back, there's the what I call the sushi garoshi lift, not the ushi garoshi, but it's the suplex lift into that, like the last shot move. But it's a kick out. There's then a low blow from Adam Cole, but he's selling his own hand, and Orange Cassidy reveals he was wearing a steel cup.
Hey, who watched GCW this weekend? Do you think Tony did?
Yeah, I mean
that's two things directly taken from the GCW pay-per-view this week. I don't care what anybody says. The ladder match starting in the ring. That was the Matt Cardona fucking cup spot.
Joey Janela.
Dude, two of them right there.
Well, they say that this is what Adam Cole has hit Orange with quite a few times, but yeah, it is very funny that it happened this weekend. Then they have Orange hit Cole with the Panama Sunrise or the Orange Sunrise for a kick out. That was crazy. They start to brawl up the tunnel. They go backstage again, like last night on NXT. There was a brawl through like Here Comes the Pain here, and it's kind of the same, but instead we see Tony Khan, Jerry Lynn, Adam Cole slams Orange through a table like a DVD, almost like
second time, wasn't it? That was the second table because they went through the timekeeper table out front already too.
Yeah, there's tables galore.
How about Jim Ross putting over Jerry Lynn going into the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, a GCW production this weekend where I was at that Saturday night too, and man, Jerry Lynn's speech was awesome. And
shout out Jerry Lynn, Hall of Fame.
Side note, if you need to watch it, I was never expecting Sean Waltman to be so nervous. He was struggling to get through the speech. He was just so nervous to induct Jerry Lynn in front of all of us, all 150 people in there. And this is Sean Waltman, who's performing at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And he's like, literally like, dude, KG, I was standing behind KG and we were talking at the bar, and Waltman you can see this point where he's just like, he literally has to stop for like 45 seconds, almost a minute, where he can't even talk. He's just, every time he starts, he's getting overwhelmed and just nervous. And KG's like, I might have to go save him. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna have to go save him. And then Waltman got it back together. The crowd like got behind him and plowed through, but just huge moment for Jerry Lynn, you know, and just to even nod to that, I thought was like really cool, because I didn't think they would mention that. I was wondering if they were going to talk about that this weekend, because Punk was there as well.
Yeah,
and they didn't
true.
mention it for Punk. So, you know, when they didn't mention it for Punk being there this weekend, putting in Prazak or anything, I was like, they're probably not going to mention it for Jerry Lynn, but then they did. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and it's super cool. I all the flowers to Jerry Lynn one, absolutely. And I mean, I thought for a second he was going to get involved. Are we going to get Jerry Lynn versus Adam Cole? Because that's like a weird dream match that you would necessarily think of, but not against. But so Tony Khan and Jerry Lynn eventually do get out the way, and the brawl continues back out onto the ramp. Cole then goes up on top of the one of the tunnels, the
little tunnel thing,
and he looks like he's gonna jump.
Yeah.
But then Orange Cassidy is up there as well. And then in a strange finish, I thought, was where Orange Cassidy hugs him, and then they fall off the top through
he kind of ended up doing the he kind of turned into a Slumdog. He kind of into Bailey to Belly, or almost the Slumdog or whatever. I don't know what he kind of did, something weird. It was some kind of suplex gimmick thing that he did, but yeah, I guess it was the forced hug spot is what they were really selling before he drove him through the random tables that are standing there they're sitting there camouflaged to look like stage. So it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the match. I thought the finish maybe was a little flat for it, but because how did he just not escape from getting hugged? I was like, what's his?
He was overwhelmed with surprise.
Yeah, so shocked by the hug. Shocked.
It was shocked by the fact that he turned up behind him and surprised him with a hug from behind.
Still a pretty great match. I'm a big fan of both these guys. But cool to see them fight. You never see them you don't see Tony Khan in the back a lot and stuff. It's cool.
Anytime anybody asks me stuff like that, like why couldn't he just do this? And I don't understand why did that happen? I was like, dude, because it's wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? It's wrestling. It's wrestling.
You can't break the hug.
You can't break the hug. It's kayfabe, bro. He had him locked in. Yeah, it was a strong hug.
It was. Well, all the best friends lift him up and they celebrate. So yes, the best friends get there. It's kind of similar to Britt Baker with her feud with Thunder Rosa, because the weird thing is like, okay, well, it doesn't count because it's lights out and stuff. Yeah. So it's going to be the same thing here, where Cole's like, yeah, well, you never really beat me. You beat me.
Yeah, I still don't. You still haven't beat me, but you know.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, because that's always good, because now the bad guys can always still claim that. You know what I mean? And the good guys go over and they get their shine and everybody's happy. But yet the bad guy can still always claim that that match didn't count. Your victory over me, that didn't happen.
Pretty funny. It's a good heel. Yeah,
it's a good heel cop out to always be like, didn't happen, bro.
Never happened. But solid episode of Dynamite. It had some things that felt like I hate when they keep going to matches. They used to really yell at me a lot, like, hey, this is happening. They've definitely slowed things down in the past few weeks, which is something I've noticed. So I've actually felt like the show flows so well, and it still is such an enjoyable 2 hours. But I thought the highlight of the show was that ladder match and some of those crazy spots. I got to go look back at some of those clips from that, because it was just awesome and setting up all the other stuff going forward. But pretty solid episode of Dynamite. What do you think?
I agree. It was probably one of the better episodes of Dynamite. I mean, it's only the fourth one this year, but it was probably the better one we've had. One of the better ones so far, and it was really good. Actually, every match served purposes. Didn't seem like just wasted filler. Why is this one here? It all had storyline purposes, and they've done a better job with that. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of continuity with storylines, making stuff seem relevant. But overall, that whole that opener set the tone for the night, and they didn't slow down, man. Even when the match that the Layla match was still good. I mean, it didn't kill the having that placement on the card. Sometimes that happens. Even though the match is good, it's just where you put something on the card. Sometimes, even being there and you can just feel the energy change, and it's like, we lost him. You know what I mean? How are you going to get the crowd back? But all night, it seemed to be just very well paced. Like you said, everything flowed together very well. the moments were up and down, but they didn't really have a lose everybody moment. They brought you down to like planned drops. It seemed like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like we're constantly rushing it and gonna burn everybody out. It was like, all right, we gave you something, then you're gonna enjoy this for a little bit. We're gonna calm you down, but then we're gonna kick it back up a little bit. It was just the well done. It was a well done episode all around.
What's your
they scripted it well.
No, I agree. It didn't, nothing
Mm-hmm.
completely made me upset or made me hate it.
Made me wonder what the fuck was that for?
Yeah,
You know, there was, it's because sometimes there's a lot of the shit.
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
There's a lot of like, I mean, that was cool,
well,
but what? Yeah. So
what about your Revolution card there? What would you see there on the card? We mentioned Mox and Danielson. Anything else there? Hangman versus.
I mean, it looks like we're not gonna get Hangman Archer apparently anymore, are we? Because that's gonna happen in 2 weeks instead
not
of
in Texas.
Not in Texas or Florida, which was gonna be jokingly too if let's have a Texas death match in Florida.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So do you think, I mean, I don't think that storyline pushes forward through the pay-per-view. So I mean, yeah, what does Hangman do here? Does he get somebody new? Do you think he gets Miro?
Miro versus Hangman.
I mean, that would be awesome because, Miro was supposed to be in that tournament originally anyway, right? No, he replaced somebody in the tournament and then got beat by Danielson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I think Miro's got to, I mean, the whole thing with Miro is he's got to redeem himself now. So like when he comes back, do you feed him to Hangman and then have him not win? And now he's still like battling this whole, like, I haven't redeemed myself yet. Or do you have him come back, like do it right away? And then he's like back on top. Which do you think we get there? Do we get the chase of Miro's redemption or does he come back finally, like to be able to do it right away?
Yeah, true. Yeah, you could do, if MJF beats Punk, you could do MJF versus Hangman.
Well, because they said that. Remember, Punk said, once I'm done with you, I'm going for the world title. And I think MJF said the same thing, didn't he? He's like, yeah, whoever comes out of this is going for the belt next. Didn't they say that?
Yeah, I think, well, they kind of mentioned that it would be,
yeah.
I
think Punk alluded to it. And then I think MJF was like, yep, whoever wins this is definitely going for the title next or something, if I'm not mistaken. But I think maybe that's where you go with Hangman then, because they did set that up with Punk saying that a while back. So maybe you get Punk and Hangman.
Yeah.
Or you get MJF. I think it's too early for the MJF and Hangman because those are your two young cornerstones. And I think you have to treat those guys kind of like they did with Brett and Shawn, where you have to keep them away from each other for the most part. You've already had them together in that program of the Stable War, right? But yet, I think you keep those two away from each other until you need to. You know what I mean? Because like they're because like whoever loses that program it's gonna hurt their overall momentum. You know what I mean? And they're gonna fall a little bit in the program and the storytelling. You know what I mean? So there has to be a right time for both of them to do that match. You know what I mean? And I feel like now's that.
Yeah, I feel like AEW is smart at saving certain matches to have. Like it's almost like an ace up their sleeve to be like, okay, now we can pull this one out. I know. This is absolutely not a spoiler, but a likely for this upcoming year. I think that if they did the Grand Slam with such a big match in that huge tennis stadium in New York, I feel like they'll go for the repeat and do another big matchup in this, probably the same venue.
They're going to do
Grand Slam.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that you hit some big match there, whether it's like, I don't know, bring in someone, do Danielson versus Okada, do like another really big match that they did for that one. And it'll bring in, because they're really good at setting up their proper things. And some of them are on TV. Some of these are like free matches. You don't have to spend your money to watch it, which is just awesome and crazy. But
and Nitro did that back in the day too. So I mean, they're pulling a lot of that business model in with Nitro, and that's what TNT did too. And back in the day, is they want to draw ratings, because overall, like that's what wrestling is fueled. Even though like we try to not ignore ratings, but like that's where the money's comes from. TV is where they get their money. They're not making their money off the house gate. They're making their money off merch and off TV and like the sponsorships they sell. And the more people that watch their TV, the higher they can sell their sponsorship rates for advertisements for. So like, yeah, you're going to put big, huge matches on TV because you need to convince these advertisers that, you know, people are tuning into your product, and it, you know, it's a good investment for them to spend their money on you because you're going to have these eyes, you know. And
Yeah.
WWE's kind of gotten away from that because they don't need to. They got to the contract they got just to have it on TV. Then they, you know, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because
Yeah,
they're
that's
making
one
money.
thing is like they
Well,
don't.
hey, speaking of WWE, we're talking about Revolution. I mean, this
Yeah.
Sunday, Royal Rumble, without spoiling anything for me, good sir.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see in the Rumble? What are some things that who do you think will win, or maybe some surprises? Because
So as
I
far as
could see,
surprises, man, I really don't know because they're
yeah.
so it's so wide. It's such a, you know, there's no telling.
I
You
think
know, they keep
Waltman.
saying, you think
Waltman
Walt
was just, yeah. I think Waltman just because he's hot off his
yeah,
last appearance this weekend.
this
They're going to
weekend.
bring
I
him
think
in.
they set up that too
Yeah,
with him this weekend. He's going to be working a tag match. And he made a comment
yeah,
about how young he is. He's like only 6 years older than CM Punk.
yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
so
think Brock
Waltman,
wins the. I think
yeah,
Brock wins the Rumble.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. Is he in it? I haven't seen him a little bit
He's
behind.
not
Is
in
he in?
it technically right now, but I mean, he could
But
lose to Bobby and then win it and face Roman again at the Mania or whatever. But I would
yeah,
like
I
to
mean, I don't
see.
know.
I
That's an
mean, now
interesting
that
situation over there,
there's rumors that
honestly.
there's Ronda winning the women's.
I think that's your good bet. I think that's a
Yeah,
safe bet because I mean again, you want to put your money players in feature spots, you know what I mean? And that's Ronda, like no matter what. I mean, she hasn't been there. I mean, whatever, you can be mad about it as you want, but like Ronda Rousey sells tickets and people know Ronda Rousey. She gets attention from other media outlets in other areas that aren't just wrestling related. And that's a huge draw. You know what I mean? And that's why the AEW is doing this with Dan Lambert and, you know, Junior Dos Santos and Jorge Masvidal and the American Top Team, because you're getting coverage from non-wrestling outlets. You know, you get ESPN picking up, you get all these other basic people
yeah,
that cover, you know, UFC, because you got UFC world champions and showing up in a wrestling ring. So I mean, even that's so it's just, it makes sense to put Ronda in that spot. And I wouldn't be mad if she showed up and won. I really wouldn't. I think it would be a great pop, a great buzz, and it makes sense
yeah.
business wise. I mean, it's a business.
I would
Bottom
have,
line, it's a
yeah,
business.
of course. I would have picked Rhea, I think, to win and
Hmm.
give some match there. But yeah, Ronda, if that is that true, obviously, then
Yeah.
she
And
probably
I think
wins it.
we said we're getting some surprises, of course, you know, but on the women's side, there's obviously a lot more room to add people because they have so many few females on their roster that you're going to get a lot of, you know, room to break. You already got Mickey James coming in as the Impact champion, so you're going to get a lot of, you know, a lot of. I don't know how much of that forbidden door that we're going to get people. I don't think we're going to get any AEW people at all. If anybody, it'll be Chris Jericho. But I don't even think that'll be a thing. Dude,
Well, I mean, it was awesome to get to chat with you here today, all about Dynamite. It was a pretty fun episode to talk about as well. Of course, Rumble is coming up. So let the
yeah,
people know where they can find you and all your stuff and what you got going on.
man, for sure. And before I even get to that, I'll throw it out there, man. I'll come back and do this as many times as you want. I know I'm going to I think I'll be going to the one in Nashville next month. That's the 16th of February. That's a couple hours from me. I put in for that one. I think they mediated me for that. Columbia, South Carolina is 2 hours away, so I'll probably go to that one. I know. I know I'm doing the Rampage before Revolution. They approved me for Revolution, so I'll be at the media scrum for Revolution. I'll be at
Hell
that.
yeah.
I think I'm going to go to the Dynamite the Wednesday after because they're staying in Florida, and shit, that's my birthday. So I'm probably going to do that whole run that week, and then I'm going to hit GCW up that Saturday. So, bro, hit me up
Ooh.
anytime to do these. I'm going to be doing a run of these. I'll come on and talk wrestling with you anytime, and I usually have some good fun stories from my adventures to talk about from my
Excellent.
AW trips. But yeah, man, people can find me pretty much. You know, I'm pretty easy to find. Just search me, Cassidy Haynes. I'm at bodyslam.net. You can find all of our work at bodyslam.net. You can follow the website account on all of our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search the handle at bodyslamnet. You can find me pretty much the same way. Just go and it's CASSHOOOLE, Casshole, extend the O. I'm an asshole. I'm Cassidy. Casshole. It's very simple. You can find me that way, man. I'm everywhere. Just type in Cassidy Haynes. You can probably find me that way. It pops up, man. I'm easy. I'm very accessible. Guys, hit me up. Talk to me anywhere. Look for our YouTube channel though. There's some good stuff on there. I think people will enjoy some of the stuff we put out. We got lots of different podcasts dropping every day on our Body Slam YouTube channel. Some different web series as well. I'm in the off season of my Cassidy Takes Chops from Pro Wrestlers series, because it's just been really hard to schedule and shoot stuff the last few weeks. I'm supposed to do a bunch this weekend, but for some reason, the only people that I was hanging out with were the ones I've already filmed episodes of Chops with, and we couldn't sync up and link up to get any ones that I hadn't already filmed with somebody. And then the one time I did, it was 3:30 in the morning and it was 10 degrees outside out in New York City. And I'm like, I'm not peeling off 5 layers to get chopped on the street at 10 degrees. I'm sorry, guys. I love everybody, but I was just being a bitch for the cold. But
Chopped by wrestlers.
Dude, yeah, that actually got me featured in Sports Illustrated. Like, I had a promising sports career as a child doing actual baseball and wrestling in high school, and almost had a real athletic career. But what actually got me featured in a write-up and interviewed, not just like they covered my work, they did a feature on me and my Cassidy Take Shots from Pro Wrestlers series. So go to the YouTube channel, check that out. There's some good stuff. I've got
I've watched it. I've watched it.
Nyla Rose has lit me up a bunch. The one from AJ Gray, I think, is the one everybody really needs to see, because he turns me into a video game character. I turn into King Hippo. I fly 10 feet back. It's just like watching King Hippo get knocked out. It's great.
Damn.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome,
I hope you guys enjoy the work. Find me anywhere, man. Holler at me anytime. I know I had a blast talking with you, brother. Let's chop it up again, man.
Yeah, for sure, definitely, and likewise. Always down to do some stuff with you.
Dude, we're doing a lot of stuff, so I'll circle back with you, and we'll definitely. I got some ideas, so we'll be seeing more of each other on each other's products. I have a feeling so.
Bless you, brother. And to everyone who's listening and joining us here, to anyone who's in the Twitch chat here tonight, thank you. And anyone listening to the podcast, of course, we have so many other podcasts, patreon.com/upNXT. We have our Rumble 2000 episode of upYOURS out. Well, it should be out tomorrow. That's out. And of course, our upNXT Rumble this Sunday on Twitch. And audience participation is advised, because we have some surprises. I mean, the WWE is going to have some random special appearances in their Rumble.
You never have run-ins, bro? You got some surprise run-ins going?
We may or may not have some. May have said too many things. But we have lots of surprises, and there can only be one winner. But all the updates, guys, at upNXT Podcast on Twitter. We appreciate you listening. And of course, join us on the Facebook page and group there, upNXT group, all that stuff. And Cassidy, thank you for hanging out with us.
Hey, man, it was a pleasure, tonight. Bro. I had a blast. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And hey, Sammy Guevara is the undisputed champion, just of life, as it seems lately. Just
Sammy 2 belts. You got both of them now.
Yeah, that's it. Good night, people. Goodbye.
First time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davey, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady DVP, the BDElite.